and welcome to this video of the ECW reviews. As you saw in my last ECW review, I talked about an ECW game that was made by Acclaim. That game was called ECW Hardcore Revolution, but as you saw, well in fact what you probably already knew was that Hardcore Revolution wasn't so much of a revolution, but in fact it was basically just a modified version of Attitude. So going into this game, I did not have a whole lot of expectations, nor did I judge the game either. In fact, I went into this game with an open mind. But before we talk about the gameplay, this game was apparently released on August 16th, 2000, which is only around 8 months after Hardcore Revolution was released. Not a whole lot of time. The fact that it was released the same year as Revolution made me think this game wasn't a whole lot different from Revolution. Anarchy Rulz was only released on 2 platforms. It was released for the PlayStation and the Dreamcast. But unlike Revolution, it was not released for the Nintendo 64 or the Game Boy Color, because at the time the Nintendo 64 was officially a dying console. I'm guessing the Game Boy Color didn't sell too well. I played this game for the Dreamcast just to see what this kind of game would look like on a console such as the Dreamcast. Now I have not played the PlayStation version, so I don't really know how this game differs on each console. I am liking this new menu layout. I mean, it's nothing special. In fact, it resembles the past Acclaim Warzone-like games. But you know, it's a bit gritty and it has barbed wire and chip teeth. It's pretty simple and it's all you really need. You got a bio room, which obviously tells you the biography of all the superstars from A to Z. But it also has a jobber section in which all I see is a trainer. Now, there are more wrestlers in the jobber section, but they have to be unlocked. The utilities are still pretty much the same as well, but the cheats option is one of the first things you see. Yeah, so it's like, oh my god, cheats right in your face! But when you choose it, it says, play Heavyweight Belt Tour on hard. Difficulty to unlock cheats. But at least you do have to earn it. So I will give them that. Everything about the utilities really is the same as the other games, so let's try out a singles match. As you can see, there is a nice amount of wrestlers to choose from. Now the match options for the single does still look the same, but they have added quite a lot more matches, such as a dumpster match, table match, a freaking brimstone match, rage in a cage, park lot, backlot brawl, just to name a few, because there are even more brand new matches in the game than that. They have added new arenas as well, and those arenas actually look different from one another, which is good to see. But like I said, the select options for your match are still pretty much the same, which is fine because there's nothing wrong with it. The entrances are pretty good, same as Attitude, but since I'm playing this on a Dreamcast, the graphics are actually quite decent. And yes, they still talk smack to each other in their own voices, which is pretty cool to hear.
Get ready, punk, cause you're gonna get the Nutcracker Suite!
If you are unfamiliar with the controls, the move list is still there to help you out, and it can be pretty useful. Yeah, so the first thing that I noticed was that the controls and the animation is still the same as ever, but the pace is a lot quicker than before, which is good personally because a fast pace is simply less boring than a slow pace like Warzone. But it does mean that you'll have to punch in the combinations for executing the moves a lot faster than before. And there are people who couldn't get the hang of the previous games like Attitude, so this game will probably not be for you. The cool crowd chants are there, and you have Joey Styles and Don, Cyrus the Virus, Callis on the commentary, which is pretty cool even if Joey Styles does make a few mistakes.
Hip toss?
You know, games usually have clipping problems, and especially a game this old, they're actually kind of known for their clipping problems, so it's not worth complaining about them in the game. But I still don't think I have ever seen shadow clipping before. At least not in this particular way. I mean, look at this, you got Balls Mahoney here, and Tommy Dreamer in front of him, but Tommy's shadow is behind Balls. Actually, stuff like this is kind of funny, so I'm not really sure why I'm even pointing it out, really. Still, the single player still feels very much the same as before, and you even have the same health bars as Hardcore Revolution. I admit it would be great if they could change up the animations a little bit, just to refreshen the game, and to get rid of the way they walk, because, as I mentioned before, looking like C-3PO is really stupid. After your match, it has a bunch of stats telling you how your wrestler wrestled throughout the match. There is even a page that tells you how many times the crowd chanted for you, and even the amount of time for as long as you had the advantage in the match. As I said before, this game has a lot more matches to choose from. I mean, there's even one called a hate match. Now that is how you grab somebody's attention. Basically, a hate match is a 1-on-12 elimination match. It's fun to put a person in this match that you really don't like, The brimstone match is a cool idea. It's where you can't leave the ring and the ring side is covered in hot coals and wood. You have to beat your opponent down and throw them outside onto the coals and burn their ass to win. Although I have to admit, it is a little anticlimactic. The career mode is still the same except they remove the acclaim belts, so there's only 2 belts to compete for in the single player career. It's still pretty straightforward. You win matches, you move up ranks, and eventually you win belts and unlock stuff. And if you lose, you go down the ranks. The more you progress in career mode, the harder things become too. There's not too much else to say about this game really. I mean, is it a rip-off of Attitude like Hardcore Revolution is? No, it's not. Because it has many features like new matches, even if some matches are a little unimpressive. Although this game did add a lot more new moves to this game that had never been seen before. In fact, there are some moves in the game that no wrestler on the roster actually uses.
That's not the first time I've seen that.
Yeah, but the creative wrestler mode is still the same as ever though. But you know what? What comes to mind when I think of this game is simply potential. Which is kind of strange because these other games did not make me think that at all. I believe if Acclaim carried on these games, assuming they had a wrestling company and the funds to continue, given the right direction such as new animation, maybe change the controls a little bit, and change the gameplay up a bit, this series could have very well turned into something really good. Still, that is just a really vague possibility. I guess we will never know. These Acclaim games will always be known as mediocre at best. So that's been another review. Thanks for watching.